been thinking about this video now for some time. This phrase keeps coming into my head. Discussing the meaning of life. You're always saying that. What is the meaning of life? You know, and of course it's a trick question because unfortunately our human language is so vague. It's actually by design. Because you know, what does that question really mean? What is the meaning of life? Are you asking, or is the question asking the meaning of the word life? Or the meaning of what the word life is about? You see that? You can interpret it two ways. What's the meaning of life? What's the meaning of the word, or what's the meaning of actual life, you know? And then whichever one of those two meanings you want to focus on, then what is life? Is life alive? So dead people aren't part of life anymore? If you think that life only means things that are alive, then you're leaving a lot of stuff out of life. So again, you can see it's, you know, when we talk about meanings and beliefs, there is so much vagueness built in to this system. And it's by design, it's on purpose. You know, what is the meaning of life? I think first you have to answer, what is the meaning of meaning? What is the meaning of meaning? What does meaning mean? Right? Because, you know, for some things, we can certainly agree on meanings. You know, the reliable physical universe. You know, there's no debate there. The word table, we all know what the word table means, right? There's different kinds of tables, but table is table. But when you talk about intangible, when you talk about the non-physical world, meaning gets a little tricky because things mean different things to different people, you know? If we take 20 people, hand them a sheet of paper and say, write down the definition for 4 words, okay? 4 words, just life, death, love, God. What do those 4 words mean? Well, they mean different things to different people, of course. You know, and that's the whole issue. Meaning varies. And, you know, in my opinion, words actually mean nothing. The words, by themselves, have no meaning until you give them a meaning for yourself. Now, I find that, or in my opinion, my observation, is that a lot of people are walking around with meanings for stuff that are not their own. And that's, I think, you know, the grand majority. Because the way things are set up, of course, we, you know, what we call beliefs, you know, we inherit them. We adopt them. First inherit or adopt them from our parents, from our environment, you know. That is the first source of meaning for a person, for a human person coming into this world. You know, as you are born and you learn to speak and you learn language, you're obviously subject to the meanings that your parents have assigned to the words. And, so beliefs are very, very personal, very complex. And it's interesting because I think that beliefs, especially religious beliefs or spiritual beliefs. I know some people don't have them. They don't. That's okay too. But specifically religious or spiritual beliefs, which are the most complex, complicated. I find it very interesting that first and foremost they are geographical accidents. That's right. People believe what they believe because of where they were born, primarily. I mean, initially. As you grow up and as you develop, that can change, of course. But initially, if you are born in India, you're most likely going to be educated as a Hindu. If you are born in Utah, you are most likely going to be raised Mormon. I was born here in Mexico, so like Mexico, Spain, Italy, and so many others, I was raised Catholic, Roman Catholic. And so, first and foremost, beliefs are geographical accidents. People believe what they believe because of where they were born. And then of course, as people grow up, you first adopt, inherit beliefs. And as you start to develop, your brain and then your concepts, and then you grow up, and then by the time you get to, what is considered adulthood, 18, 20, 21, by that time, supposedly, you've kind of developed your own belief system. And of course, everybody's different. Everybody's got a right, and that is something that's really important. If more people understood, learned, accepted that every single person has the absolute right to believe whatever they want to believe, and more important, that nobody has the right to impose their beliefs on another. If the world could learn and accept and put this in practice, it would go a long way into fixing many problems. This attitude, this belief that so many people have, not just in the U.S., everywhere. I'm what I believe, I'm right, and you believe something different, so you're wrong, and I'm going to prove. What? Most people, they inherited somebody else's beliefs. They adopted somebody else's meanings. They memorize them, and then they can go out and regurgitate them. They don't even know what the heck they're talking about. In many cases, I'm not saying everybody, but a lot of people, all they're doing is blindly repeating memorization things that they learned in their religion or whatever. And they're all so passionate about, oh yes, this and that, and you're wrong, and God's going to punish you, and all this, because of all these traditions and all these inherited beliefs, and at least for myself, I've accepted for myself that, free will is a great gift. Free will is the absolute right to believe what you choose, and so again, everybody's different, and everybody's got a right to believe whatever they want to believe. But in my experience, developing your own beliefs, a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people have, I think, it's changing now. I mean, it's not like 40 years ago. 40 years ago it was more like blanket, But beliefs, especially religious and spiritual beliefs, they will divide people. They have over the history of our world. Religious and spiritual beliefs have divided countries, have caused more wars, and a lot of the concepts and the beliefs that people have about religion and spirituality, I find, in my experience, I have, because in my own search and my own quest to understand life. To answer that question, what is the meaning of life? I've been searching for that answer myself for quite some time. And so in my quest and in my journey and in my search and in my investigation and in trying to find answers, I find that a lot of people are walking around with inherited and adopted beliefs that they never developed themselves. And that's perfectly fine by me. That is perfectly fine. Everything is exactly the way it should be. Even though it doesn't appear that way, but it is. And everybody in their evolution as both as a human and as a spiritual being, everybody's evolution is exactly where it's supposed to be. It's not a blanket system. Everybody's not going to, learn, experience, reject, ascend at the same time. And so everybody's exactly where they're supposed to be. And also people that don't believe in the spiritual or the religious, that's fine too. Believing or not believing in a higher power, God, the divine, whatever adjective you choose to describe it, it doesn't make you better. It doesn't make you superior than somebody who has no religious and no spiritual beliefs. Atheists or agnostics or whatever adjective. Some people have spiritual and religious beliefs, and some people don't. Okay, and neither are better than the other. That's another thing that's really important to understand, because in the journey, in the path, one of the biggest traps is that that vanity, that spiritual vanity, and it's a big trap, and so many people fall into it. They start looking down on others because now I know so much. I'm enlightened. I was a pharaoh of Egypt, and all of this, and you start looking down on people. A lot of people do that. It's one of the biggest ego traps. Spiritual vanity, holier than thou. Because you think you know something, or because you think you've had an experience. And so it's really important to remember and understand that we are all one, and that we are all equal. We are. Even the worst of the worst, what we may observe, somebody who's causing a lot of harm, what people would call evil, And for me, evil just means causing harm. That's what I believe evil is. And it's real, Some people say, good and evil don't exist. Really? I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand that on a much higher level of consciousness. Good and evil are both two sides of the same coin and part of this great education system. I do understand. People that here in 3D we consider, or we can say, they're evil, or they're causing, they're doing evil stuff. They're in their lessons too, A lot of people have gotten into this, and it's a long time program, the us versus them, the light versus the dark. And I mean, in a way it is, of course, but this war that, we are the light and we must smite the dark ones. And I see people writing, like on Facebook, and calling to God, please destroy the evil ones, and blah 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 blah, this, and that's just separation. I don't have any enemies. I don't wish any being in creation any ill. Yes, there are many things in life that I feel in my heart that they're not positive, that are not good, that are harmful. There's a lot of harm this world. And it is very easy to fall into the trap of hating, being angry and wishing those causing harm ill, wanting to smite them and wanting to destroy them. And if you fall into that trap, and you're deep, deep, deep in the separation of the duality, because we're all one. Everything is of one single, unified, supreme consciousness that some people call God. I don't like the word God. I think God doesn't like the word. Because unfortunately, because of the history on our planet, that word is charged with so much energy. And a lot of it is not positive, not beneficial. That word is so charged with conflict, just the word. If you're in open conversation and you just say that word, even if nobody outside, exteriorly reacts, but there's always a reaction. There's the for and the against, and a lot of times you may say the word God, and then somebody hears you saying it, and they're automatically assuming that you're this or that religion, or that you're religious, or this or that, and so the word God is really charged with a lot of conflict. I mean, there's, the number one reason for war on this planet in our history has been religion, has been differences about, oh no, I have the right God, you have the wrong God, we have the only God, this is the only true religion, and we are right and everybody else is wrong. And there's a lot of that. People clinging to their description of God and stating that only their description and their belief is the right one and everybody else is wrong. And so many people are in that, programming, that conditioning. And so that's one of the reasons I don't like that word. I mean, besides the fact that it's also, dog spelled backwards. I always found that kind of interesting. But so back to meaning. Words actually have no meaning. If you remember in the Matrix, I think it was the second Matrix movie, when Neo is stuck in the train man's, where the Hindu family is waiting for the train, the two Hindu adults and the little child, and then Neo shows up because that's when he became unconscious. And so if you remember that scene, the Hindu guy, I forget his name, but he says something really interesting. He's talking with Neo, and then he says karma and love. They're talking, and Neo asks him, "Do you believe in love? Like you believe in karma?" And the answer the gentleman gives is really, that movie. One day, the Matrix trilogy will one day be fully understood. It's very prophetic in many, many ways. It's actually like trying to, it's a wake-up call. The Matrix movies is higher consciousness going, hey humans, wake the hell up. Okay? In many, 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 many ways. So, and so what he says is, it's not the word. Because Neo asks him, do you believe in love? And the guy answers, it's not the word, it's the connection it represents. That's it. See? The word by itself has no meaning. It's the meaning you give it for you. That's where it's at. So, what's the meaning of life? Life has no meaning. There's your answer. Life has no meaning. You are here to give it meaning. That's why we're here. To give meaning to whatever this is. And so, finding meaning That's what it's about. And when you find the meaning of your life, you will have found the meaning of everything. And it's beautiful. It really is. It really is. When we're able to peak, when we are blessed, and we are allowed behind the veil, when we are gifted with awareness, when we are shown eternity within ourselves, our hearts. Life really starts to take on a new meaning. And it's glorious. It really is. The peace and the joy that I have never felt in my life before. That I have now. Because of all of these gifts, all of this awareness. And that's by making this video. Like I said in my intro video, I'm not telling you this is true. I'm not telling you. This may not be true for you. Your truth might be that whatever your parents told you was the meaning of God, life, love, and death, that is your meaning. And that is exactly perfect. You are not wrong. If you believe something different than me, you are not wrong. Neither of us are wrong. We're both correct. Whatever you believe is correct for you. Whatever I believe is correct for me. That's the thing. Okay, we have a saying here in Mexico. Cada cabeza es un mundo. Literally translates into each head is a world. Think about that. Each head is a world. And that is exactly the truth. You know, people believe that we live in the same world. Right? Do we live in the same world? No. No, we don't. We live in the same planet, for sure, yes. But we don't live in the same world. There are billions of worlds on this planet. You know, take for example the shamans. Shape-shifting ancient souls that, navigate in and out of dimensions and control the elements. They exist. That's not me. I don't live in that world, but I know it exists. And a lot of people, most people don't live in that world. The soccer moms and, the factory workers, they don't live in that world. Just like the shaman doesn't live in the soccer mom's world or the factory worker or, so this is where this understanding of respecting other people's beliefs, see? And this is something it's taken me many, many years to learn. I had a massive awakening 30 years ago in 1992, and it was beautiful. It was 10 months, and it was beautiful, and I got the euphoria of faith. I was so excited about what I was shown and so many beautiful things, and I just wanted to go out and tell the world, and I was like, if more people knew this, there would be no wars, it's all love, and and I was, oh yeah, and so 30 years ago I thought it would be a really good idea to go out and tell the world that I had discovered the truth, and if everybody knew all that, and I was really young. I was 23, so I had a lot of immaturity. I didn't know how to go about it, so I declared myself a new apostle, and I went out into the world and said, hey, hear me, my brothers, I come with the word of God. And everybody said, fuck you. So, I actually had somebody, a good friend, during this time, lovely friend, she's like, It's a great thing that your time has come, that you're experiencing this awakening. She said, but you got to understand something. They didn't listen to him. They nailed him to a tree or a cross or whatever, and it was him. They're not going to listen to you. And so this isn't about convincing anybody, and that's why now I believe now that the proper way to go about sharing this information is like this, just stating flat out, hey, I'm not trying to convince you of anything, and I'm not saying this is your truth. I'm just sharing mine. That's it. And you can't impose, you cannot force, you cannot impose beliefs, and you should not try to convince either. Everybody's meaning of life is their own, and it is absolutely personal. And you should not mess with anybody else's meanings of life or beliefs. Respect whatever others believe. If they believe different than you, even if it's directly opposite, it's okay. Live and let live. Remember the golden rule. If more people would just practice the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And a lot of times people don't grab the full spectrum of that very important teaching. Do you like it? If let's say let's say that you are a Christian, right? And you're a devout Christian, and you've grown up in your faith, and all your life, and you go to church on Sundays, and you read the Bible, and you are a devout practicing Christian. And then somebody from another faith, Mormon, Jewish, Muslim, they come to you and like, hey, that's wrong. What you believe is wrong. Here, I have the truth, and this is the only truth, and you have to believe this truth because this is the only one, and yours is... You wouldn't do that, right? So, if you don't like somebody else coming over to your life and telling you what to believe and how to believe it, why do those people go and try to do it to others? I don't get it. I really don't. This imposition, well, I do get it actually. Imposing things by force. Forcing people to believe something. Yeah, that has been the hallmark of the last 200,000 years on this planet, and that's part of the synthetic matrix no heart system. That's what they do. They impose, they force. So I do get it, but it's time to break out of that. Okay, let people believe whatever they want to believe. Live and let live. And find your own meaning to stuff. There's another also a really good scene that I was just remembering, and I think it was the great Robin Williams in, I think it was Good Will Hunting. And it was a very powerful scene where he's talking to the kids, and he's like, make sure that you've got your own definitions. That's what it is. Make sure you have your own definitions, because unfortunately, this world, this planet, is under a lot of false definitions. A lot of people, they hear the word God and they imagine a white, bearded guy up in the clouds, or something. And for myself, I don't believe God is male. If I had to choose, I would lean more towards a female God. That might have to do with my own personal experience. Like many people, I grew up with severe daddy issues, as we all have. Many people have. Not all, but many people do have it. There's also reasons for that. But in this lifetime, my mother and my motherly love, and so I'm really in tune, with my heart, with the feminine energy. And so, if I had to choose, I would say God is female, just because of the nurturing, motherly, life-giving aspect of womanhood in this world. I do believe the nature of the physical universe is feminine, and I do believe that the tyrannical patriarchy that we have unfortunately have had to survive. Let me cancel the word unfortunately. That we've had to put up with now, which is, I think, in its last era, because we are returning to the heart. And but ultimately, I've said this, I've written about it, and I've said it for many years. I think God's beyond judgment, and like I said, for me, God, is God cannot be one person. First of all, when people talk about Jesus, and of course Jesus Christ, a great, great master, and a loving, beautiful soul that is so important to our world. That was actually, he helped me start to open my heart in my teens. I was researching, for a very long time since I was a kid. Like I said, trying to find that meaning. So I started going to the mountains up in upstate New York in my teenage years in that quest, and I had a very heart-opening experience in one of those, which is part of the process. But he is one of the main heads of the light government. Use those adjectives, because it is. It's all of the heavens are organized, and all of the invisible realms. There's this entire administrative structure, that we are so unaware of, and thank God that it is there, because it is the divine intelligence that has been guiding life on this planet in many forms, in all traditions, for a long time. So I'm really grateful, very, very, very grateful. And in a later video, I will try to go into. I actually, if you read one of the posts I made recently on my elephant journal, it was the Easter blessings on April 17th. If you're interested, if you get a chance, because the Nazarene is so important in our history, and the work that he did. And of course, the story that is documented in religion, and the way that's been manipulated, and the way they present us this, dead body on a cross, and it's all heavily manipulated, okay? Jesus is alive. Yeah? That is actually one of the main messages of his life, and especially his death, his physical death, the resurrection. That is one of the main messages of his life. Death is an illusion. And still they give us this image, of a dead body nailed to a cross. That's on purpose too. But Jesus is alive and well, and he is definitely, one of the heads of the light, divine light government for our solar system and our galaxy. So, muchas gracias. Thank you. He has helped me a lot, and I have a very strong connection to the Christ. And that's what the article about the Easter blessings is. The Christ is a lot more than just the life of Jesus. I don't want to underscore. The life of Jesus is extremely important. And even though they, the church, and they try to, all of the things that they've tried to hide and conceal, and all of the everything, all of the falsity and all of the deceit within religions and churches, there is still, even with all of that, in the New Testament, there is so much wisdom still, and so much hidden meaning. When you start to become aware, you read things that you read before, and all of a sudden they start unfolding in ways that it didn't when you weren't so aware. So it is beautiful. But the Christ is a lot more than just the life of Jesus Christ as it was told. Okay, the Christ and being a Christian being, and what the Christ represents, the connection to the cosmos Christ. Because we are made in the image of divine creation. That doesn't mean that divine creation looks human. No. It's not the white guy with the beard and the cloud. No. I mean, again, if that's what you believe, I totally respect that. I'm just, again, stating my belief. So, we are made in the image of divine creation. So we have everything represented. All of creation is represented within our human body. The kingdom of heaven is within you. So within us is our own Christ. And for me, it represents my center, my inner sun. I see it as my diamond heart, my inner sun. And I feel it connects me. So take a look at my readings. If you're interested in these, I go further into the triune heart and our relationship to the divine, and why I believe that the nature of the physical universe is female, because of that life-giving element. From a very early age, I said that I believed that women were a little more divine than men, a little better, just because God had entrusted them with that life-giving aspect. And that wasn't a very popular view, especially in macho Mexico. Still isn't. But now I see that, that truth had been speaking to me from inside from a very early age, and I am so grateful, and so I share it. I share this with you all as a form of gratitude. That perhaps somebody out there listening to this is going through similar experiences. If these videos, if these words make you feel good, help you in any way, that's my only intention here, sharing my heart, is that it may, as so many people, and during my quest, I heard so many people over the years, and a lot of times, we should never try to wake people up, but we should never underestimate the importance of planting seeds. So a lot of people planted seeds throughout my life and my quest. A lot of people planted seeds, and over time, eventually I found some water, and so that's what I'm doing here. I'm kind of returning the favor, sharing my heart, hoping that it'll help somebody or that it'll do some good somehow. Somebody recently said, that consciousness or awareness is nothing if you don't share it. That also happened to me 30 years ago. During that awakening, I wrote a lot of things, but I never shared it. They stayed locked up in a 3-ring binder or a notebook, and I never shared them. So Now that I'm like on, awakening 2.0, it's like, hey, share it, put it out there, get it out in the field, especially now. I mean, 30 years ago we didn't have the internet we do now, and so that's what I'm doing. I'm kind of returning the favor to all of those that planted seeds for me, and putting myself out there. I've been in hermit mode for many years, and I'm being guided now to put myself out here, and so that's what I'm doing. And hope you have a good day, and hope you have a great life. Namaste. The divine in me recognizes and salutes the divine in you. Laak. I am another you. Hope you like the video. If you feel like it, share it. Give it a like, subscribe. That'd be great. If you don't, that's okay too. So, take care, and we'll see you in the next video, and God bless.